Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be here with you today to moderate this very interesting panel about the role of AI and IoT within building system management today. Today's world requires for safety, for efficiency, for energy management much more than reactive measures. We need predictability, we need prevention. And today, I'm very thrilled to be joined by a renowned set of panelists that I will briefly introduce to you, that will share expertise, insights, and I hope that will collectively bring more information and visibility to this field. So let me start with the man that everyone knows in the room, Mr. Ibrahim Lari, chairman of SIPCA, CEO of SIPCA as well, the founder of SciBec. I'm pretty sure that all of you know him, and he will bring with us the expertise and the long decades of experience in this field and the insight that through SIPCA, the IoT and AI field can bring to the notion. Karim, I would like you to please introduce yourself to the audience in a few words, and predominantly the domain of expertise that you will provide us today and the areas that you will cover during the panel.
Sure, thank you very much. First, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for hosting another great event this year, and pleasure to be up here with my fellow panelists. My name is Karim El-Sarafi. I'm the founder and managing partner of Modus Capital. Modus Capital is a venture platform. We invest in early stage tech and tech-enabled companies, but we have a unique value proposition in that we don't just invest with money, but we invest with human capital as well. So we have a team of operators that helps these companies grow.
Thank you very much, Karim. Richard?
Hi, I'm Richard Pearson, the Chief Product Development Officer for Omnicon. I've been working with SIPCA just over 10 years now for different building solutions, ELV solutions, integration solutions. So the next voyage for us, the fantastic journey that we're on now, is to build Omnicon, linking all of the different ELV systems that we possibly can do across the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And I'll end with Bara.
Thank you. I'm Bara Khamis. So I'm from Ithara, which is the kind of the fun side of the city. And we're known for the Formula One circuit and all of the entertainment in Abu Dhabi.
So today we have multiple sides of the problematic that we'll address today between the investment and funding, the business side, the product side, and the actual real-life experience with large events and complex projects to manage, chaired by our chairman, Mr. Lari. But it's not only the panelists, it's all of you that will have to participate with us today. So what I would like you to do, if you agree, is just to scan this QR code, because we will have a way to capture your insight, to capture your feeling on a few questions, to feel the pulse of the industry, feel the pulse of the audience all together with us. You'll be on a lot of pictures, gentlemen. So, to start the panel discussion, I will address the first question to you, Mr. Lari. You're in this industry, in this business since a long, long time, and I just would like to get your feel about how the IoT, AI, and data analytics are already transforming and changing the industry when it comes to building system management, safety, and efficiency management today.
Thank you. I think Scott, I'll go back to Scott. Scott mentioned everything that we talk about, which is today the buildings are becoming more intelligent. There are more, buildings requires a lot of systems. The systems that need to be connected. And that demand is coming from all areas, comes from the authorities. They want to have more knowledge about the building. They want to know how the building is performing. They want to know how to manage that building during the emergency. All of this, these are the authorities demanding to have information about these buildings. Now, these are one side. The owner of the building, he wants to know also how to optimize his energy, how to make sure his building is safe, how to make sure protect the talent living in that building. Therefore, overall, all of this coming as the only way that you can do that is using the technology today, the IoT, that can connect all of these systems, that you have multi-systems, so many systems in the buildings that become very complicated systems, to connect them together, make sure they are working together, and building the enough data for you to be able to deliver that information at the right time and be able to protect the building and protect the people in the building and protect all the assets of the buildings. That's why you can use the IoT is today, and the AI is so much important in the buildings and to provide the right information to the tenants and the authorities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Larry. And now, based on this ecosystem of stakeholders that we have to inform and how the technology is so much interconnected into the buildings, I would like to address a second question to you, Richard, on how to deal with this large volume of raw data that all these IoT devices are bringing together, and how to transform that into actionable insights that the decision makers, the authorities, the project owners, the building owners, and the businesses can make use of.
One of the biggest challenges that we face is, as you say, raw data. When you hook up, and again, we'll refer back to Scott here, when you have a large complex, large buildings, large cityscapes, you can have hundreds of thousands of equipment, hundreds and thousands of sensors which are reporting back. Now, for most IoT solutions, you don't need all of the data that's coming back in. You need specific metadata that comes from those specific centers. So what we can do is we can start trying to filter out information that is on the edge. So we go for the edge process side of things. So as data are coming in from energy sensors, temperature sensors, vibration sensors, current sensors, whatever it may be, we start to cleanse that specific data. So we can then start to look for specific trends within the raw data that we are receiving to the business. Because once we start seeing trends and doing trends analysis, we can start to do predictive analysis. So we can start to predict how buildings should be run. So how is my building going to be running today? How's it going to be running tomorrow? Based on all of the external temperature sense information, the weather station information, but also how many people are physically occupying that building? How many cars do I have turning up to the building? So there is a vast quantity of raw data that we have to consume and turn into something which is manageable data. And for us, we have to work with the customer to understand what that manageable data is. We can't take a guess. So at Omnicom, we would love to guess what all of that data means to people. But without people enlightening us to what's imperative to them and the way their building works, that raw data is not important. Until we understand what a customer has within their building, who is in the building, what they're doing in the building, then that raw data can become useful data and give us the insights onto how the building and the fabric of the different campuses that we're working on is viable for them.
Thank you very much, Richard. So I see that about 60 of you have scanned the code. That's a good number to start with our first interactive question. So from your perspective, based on what has been said so far, and when it comes to IoT integration into building management, which of these areas do you think that IoT will serve the most between fire prevention, building occupancy, emergency response, structural integrity, air quality monitoring, or any other topic that you may have seen in your experience in your life? What is the first topic that comes to your mind when it comes to applicability? So we'll give you a few minutes to give us your feel. So the first trend is emergency response and fire prevention first, followed by the building occupancy, air quality monitoring, and structural integrity. We'll keep it ongoing, and so far we have half of the respondents, but it links pretty well with the topics that we will see in a minute, which is really from a real-life experience and real-life practice. But I would like to ask you the question about your own experience, some real-life examples of projects in which IoT in particular, or technology combined with data and AI, managed to improve the safety, improve the response time, the fire prevention, the predictability.
So building on the gentleman's comments on the IoT and the sensors and then the large number of data, our objective is to take that data and making it more meaningful from a business perspective. And how do we use it? So let's say, for example, crowd management is an essential source of data from all of these sensors and access control that we take it very seriously throughout events, and we real-time we look at it, and then maybe we could divert our guests to improve the guest experience, where to access which areas, and continuously look at it and improve it as we go. Additionally, we take it to the next level to assess our guest experience. For example, we look at it from a dwelling time. How much people are spending time in each and every activations that we do throughout our events. And this has given us an important data point for us to activate and build the future experiences that we want on the next event or the next season. Those are very essential data point for us. Without all of these sensors, we will never be able to address it real time, which is, it fit directly, and I'm looking at the responses. Emergency response is a critical area, I think, for us during events, and we take it very serious. And those data points is essential for an immediate actions when needed.
Thank you very much, Bara. And with this perspective, which is more the business perspective on how IoT is a requirement, mandatory in nowadays, building management system, real life examples of large events management. I'd like to ask you, Richard, the question from your perspective as a key stakeholder in this industry, as a product officer, what are the obstacles that you see related to the IoT technologies integration, implementation within the projects that you have been working on?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Every single project is typically different, but when we're integrating large-scale projects, which again could be citywide campuses, one of the biggest challenges is how we're going to consume data from legacy systems. When we're faced with a building that has a 15, 20-year-old fire alarm system, a 15-year-old central battery system, it's being able to integrate to those solutions and find mechanisms to pull the data in. In some cases, on old systems, we're back to RS-232 data, one of the oldest mechanisms of communication from these devices. That is a huge challenge for a customer because, of course, there is a vast amount of work that has to be done, surveying work, technical work to understand how we do it. Another concern the customer has that follows directly on from this is the cost. How much is it actually going to cost to integrate all of our solutions together? If every solution was brand new, if we were dealing with a brand new building, most implementations now come with some form of connectivity. However, in old buildings with infrastructure, you don't have that. So there is a vast amount of time and effort required to integrate all of those different solutions together. Another key factor which plays here is cybersecurity. When you're adding in thousands or tens of thousands of devices, a lot of them very powerful devices, especially when you're talking about CCTV cameras, there's concerns about how people could interact with those particular cameras. If they're on the same network, how can they compromise them? How can they use them to create DOS attack systems or denial of service attack systems, how they can extract data from them, how they can be used to pull data from different networks. So the cybersecurity concern is also a massive, massive concern within the IoT industry at the moment. And that's why we've been working with the likes, again, I'll mention Scott's name here, Scott's predecessor, Sudi, and the team there to get our UL Platinum listening. One of those key pillars is cybersecurity, because it's one of the biggest concerns that every customer has. If we plug a gateway in, how secure is that gateway? Is there a zero trust policy when it comes to integrating new gateway technologies into buildings? So that's a number of different concerns. There are more, but that'll take... If anyone wants to know and go into detail about other concerns, then please come and see me on the Omnicom booth.
Thank you very much, Richard. So we had the large event organizer, we had the product officer, now we'll ask you a similar question. So from your perspective, when we look at IoT, AI, data type of projects, what would be your main challenge? What would be the risk or the challenge that you would rate first? So if you can give us your feel between retrofitting from all the buildings that you mentioned, the cost, the cybersecurity, the compatibility, the availability of data, where do you think the issues would be the most important? So far, it's predominantly on the retrofitting and the compatibility of systems, but it's moving fast.
Nothing on data availability yet. That's very interesting.
Sorry?
No votes on data availability yet.
True.
It's very
True.
interesting.
I was waiting a bit, but yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I pushed somebody.
So that gives us a good feel from the audience perspective in terms of compatibility, integration, I believe, of system, the cost as well, retrofitting from all buildings, cybersecurity. Data less. However, I would agree with you that that may be a pretty big concern for most of the companies. And with that, I would like to ask you, Karim, specifically from a business and investment angle. So looking forward to the future and looking at these type of solutions, AI, IoT startups, what kind of business models do you see appearing or maturing in the market when it comes to integrating these type of technology solutions in the BMS safety and efficiency management?
Sure. So first, I want to talk about data because I'm a little biased to data from an investor perspective because data is what eventually makes you the money, right? Big data really started taking off in late 2009, and people were just aggregating it at that point. And then as you started getting later and later, 2015, 2017, 2018, people started realizing how they can manipulate that data as an advantage. Well, when you're talking about building management, this is industry 1.0, and I think that there have been some shortcomings and some benefits, right? Shortcomings on the fact that they are late to the game, but the benefit is that there are so many use cases and there's so many different experiences of leveraging big data that now building management systems or systems such as Omnicon, for example, they're able to both aggregate the data and manipulate it at the same time because there's a track record. So what do you look at? You look at scalability. Is this scalable? You look at aggregating data, codifying the data, like Richard alluded to. Can you bring this data together in a meaningful way that you're actually able to manipulate it? And then how you manipulate that data to benefit your operations or reduce costs or whatever the case may be. This is also something that's very, very critical. So, I think that there are a couple of really different elements in that regard, but again, I think the leveraging of data is really one of the big key parts.
Data monetization, predominantly. And carrying on the same discussion now, if you look at it from an investor perspective, so if you had to evaluate businesses, startups, starting their journey on IoT, AI, and data, what would be your criteria of evaluation for deciding to invest or not in this type of business?
Sure. So the first thing is the best early stage tech companies, they really come out of past experience. Somebody who is an expert or has experienced something for a long time, they've identified a problem and have an idea for a solution, right? Because they've lived that use case. So the founders are absolutely critical. Do we have any entrepreneurs in the room? Any founders here previously founded a company?
You may raise your hands.
We've got one
Yes.
brave soul.
One.
We've got two, three. There we go. So founders are key, right? They know the domain expertise. They understand the use case. Everything else, which is actually interesting because that's our model at Modus, is it's a playbook on how to build a tech company. But that niche expertise is very, very critical. So the founder experience is very critical. The other thing is you have to think about scalability, right? It has to be asset light, right? You have to be able to scale it quick and fast. And this is what the beautiful thing about tech is. The other thing which is absolutely critical, especially in building and facility management, which Richard alluded to, is legacy systems, interoperability. And to be able to combine the ability to connect with old legacy systems in a way that is scalable is extremely, extremely difficult because legacy systems they're just a complete and total mess. So I think these points are very, very critical when you want to look at it from an investment perspective.
Thank you very much for the insight, Karim. And similarly, I would ask you for one last time, your opinion specifically about how you would evaluate that type of technologies if you had to implement it into your business. So just a few choices between innovation and therefore the capability to bring a fresh look at the industry, the ROI that could bring to your projects, to your businesses, the scalability that was mentioned by Karim as one of the core aspects as well, and the security of the data. So if you had to give a weight, in this case it's not one or another, it can be several of them, what would be your own ratio? Shifts a bit. So while we continue to get the answers on this important question, I would like to complete the panel with a question to you, Mr. Larry, on the actual practical next steps. So what would be your recommendations to any business, any building owner, any project, real estate developer who would like to implement IoT, implement AI, embed AI and IoT within their projects, what would be the first recommendations that you would make to them to start with?
Well, should I mention Scott again? Or well, today to answer these questions, I said the answer to your question is Omnicon. All of you guys, to see that, the Omnicon. Omnicon is the one and the only unique, even if I'm not supposed to say that, product available today in the market, in the world, that can provide this type of whatever you need in terms of the IoT, in terms of the security, in terms of the connectivity to your building. And today, you need a product such as Omnicon. There are many others in the market also. But the uniqueness of the Omnicon is that it can integrate every aspect of the building into one single platform that you can monitor and control your buildings in all aspects, whether you want to security, in fire, in energy, whatever you need, it is there. Therefore, yes, today there are technologies available in the market, and I believe within the next 5 years, all of these buildings will be connected because people are going into this connectivity. People need this type of service because they require security and require also management of the energy. And therefore, yes, today the IoT platforms are becoming very famous, very needed as much. Everybody's needed that type of platforms in order to connect and utilize their buildings and be able to manage their buildings in a more efficient way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Larry.
Can I just add something? Although I know probably not supposed to talk about Omnicon, but so we've seen thousands of pitch decks about IoT investment opportunities. We even saw a grill that is using IoT, machine learning, and AI to grill your steak. I mean, I don't know. So people just love throwing these buzzwords in there, but the only company that we have seen that really has proper leverage of IoT, interoperability, scalability was Omnicon. And it's why it's one of the companies that we're proud to have invested in.
Thank you very much to each and every one of you. So we covered several type of questions from the first need of IoT in the business, the essential elements of data management, the real life experience in terms of leveraging IoT technologies in managing large events or emergency response. We also looked at the investment angle and the next steps that are recommended. Your perspective in terms of selecting that type of solutions is clearly motivated by the ROI and the potential to innovate in the market, followed by security. And with that, I would like to thank you all for your time and thank the panelists in particular for their great insight. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.